Hello, hello, everybody. So we are back 2024 for a career and spirituality conversation. And so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Julie Pone, and I support spiritual seekers having a career experience to reconcile what they do for a living with who they are as a soul. And having these conversations is part of this mission. And today, to support me with it, I'm super excited to talk to Doug Gordon. And Doug is a 5 times award-winning coach, author, speaker, and healer. So there is going to be a lot to talk about. And we are going to do a little grounding before starting the conversation. And instead of me doing it, today, Doug is gonna lead us through it. So even before the conversation, we're gonna have a chance to have a little experience of Doug and his work. So I'm super excited about it. So Doug, hello.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, so I am going to do a quick grounding chakra meditation, which will only be 2 minutes. And the background that I have to be able to do that, I'm a master teacher healer of 5 modalities of healing. So if you can get yourself into a relaxed state, sitting up straight, palms on your legs, facing upwards. And I just want you to breathe into your heart with absolute love and feel the love within your heart. Take a really, really deep breath into your heart. And as you feel that love in your heart, feel appreciation and gratitude for the blood it pumps, the emotions it brings, and the life it gives. And as you breathe that love out to all the extremities of the body, especially down to the feet, sending the energy down towards the ground. And as you continue that breath, keep breathing in with love and then breathing out with love to all the extremities of the body that might need it. And as you continue that breath, visualize a beautiful white and a beautiful violet light coming down from the heavens above into the top of your head, going all the way through your central nervous system, down into the center of the earth, connecting with the center of the earth. And visualize that column of light all around you, surrounding you, encapsulating you as it comes from above and goes down and connects to below. And as you continue that breath into the heart, I want you now to consciously breathe upwards as if you're sending the intention of energy all the way up your legs and your spine, up to the heavens, just to almost high five and touch the heavens. And then as you breathe out, I want you to bring that energy back down all the way through your central nervous system, down your legs, down your feet, and extend that conscious energy all the way down to the center of the earth, connecting as if there's an energetic pool of water there, as if you're a tree with roots leading down to it. And as you connect with that energetic pool of energy, send your consciousness, send your energy down there. Feel that beautiful, gleaming water there in the center of the earth. And then with those roots that are connected to it, I want you to suck that water all the way up from the center of the earth, all the way up those roots, all the way up your legs, your thighs, your torso, your chest, your neck, and out the top of your head, and spiraling back down around you like a beautiful waterfall of electric light. And just take a few deep breaths, breathing in, pulling that energy up from that water at the center of the earth, and then breathing down, sending your energy back down to get some more water from that area as well. Imagine yourself as that tree suddenly coming alive. Imagine the branches stretching out, the leaves are lightening with green, beautiful color, and feel alive and energized with that energetic flow of water coming from the center of the earth. And as you feel that energy, go back into your heart, send love to your heart, and send that love one more time down to the center of the earth, connecting with the center of the earth, pulling it back up to your heart, and energizing your whole body in a state of connection and love. And once you feel that love, just slowly start to come back into consciousness, wiggling your toes, moving your legs, squeezing your bum, your torso, moving your arms and your fingers. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Oh, wow. Ta-da! Hello again. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Doug.
My
Really, I
pleasure.
feel like I'm someone who tends to kind of live a little bit up there, and I could feel that grounding straight at the energy coming down at the beginning. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, and it is nice to be guided for a change. So that's really cool. Thank you. So Doug, I'm super excited for this conversation, and so as you know, it's about career and spirituality. But I like to start with the spiritual aspect, and I would love to know what's your relationship to spirituality.
Well, my mother was a Reiki master teacher and Sakine master teacher and magnified mastering teacher for years and years and years. And I'm 49 now, but when I was in my 20s in university, I used to come over to Ireland, and instead of going away to some Spanish island to find myself partying, I used to party in Ireland. And I used to ask my mum to give me a healing. And after I had the healing, I have to say it was like my aura was glowing and I felt amazing. And I have to say, every single time I had a healing, I ended up as a single man getting lucky by the end of the night. So I suddenly realized that there was something in this healing, even at an early age.
Yeah.
But never got into it directly until in 2008, I ended up getting very stressed because obviously the stock market, which I was working on at the time, ended up falling through the floor. And the stress led to ailments. Ailments led to doctors, specialists, two operations that went wrong, 4 years of chronic pain. And then in 2013, I ended up having the norovirus, which is like a stomach bomb. After 10 days of serious dehydration, I was rushed to hospital with chest pain. And in the ambulance, the ECG said hard, blood pressure doubled. I was brought into the hospital, rushed down to X-ray, and on the way down to X-ray, I actually died. And I was encapsulated in this amazing feeling of love, energy, and connection, nothing like I've ever felt before. It was just this amazing connection to everything. And there was no man with a beard, but there was this living, conscious energy there that basically was telling me that I needed to change my life in some way or form. Obviously, I came back, otherwise, I wouldn't be speaking to you now. And I didn't know what to do. So I'd had this spiritual experience. So I decided I better go and do something. So I went and did a church course. And when I arrived up and did the church course for the first week, they were obviously talking about the Bible and Jesus, and I obviously believe in that. But at the same time, I remembered that when I was in that energy, I know that energy would never alienate or discriminate against anybody in this world. So I said it to them. I said, look, I feel that like religions are like rivers to the sea. They're all beautiful in their own right, but they're just paths to the sea, being God, universal energy, your own subconscious mind, Allah, whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter. It's just really about love, connection, and emotional intelligence, in my viewpoint as well. So at that point, I walked out and I said to the universe or God or at the time, I said, show me a sign because I don't know what to do. Yeah. And I went away. I was helping a friend of mine 2 days later who had cancer. And I told him about this course because I was always talking about mind and body, but I hadn't talked about soul. And that night, I went running with my dog. My dog tripped me up full pace, cut my hand and my knee to shreds. And on my hand here, I had an infinity sign there, an infinity sign there. And between the two there in cuts, I had the letters of the cross, INRI. And it was big I, big N, small r, small I. So to me, it was like saying, Jesus of Nazareth here, not really King of the Jews, but go back and do that course. So wow. I got very spiritual then, or very religious then, did the course, read half the Bible. But by the end of it, I still felt there was something about that rivers to the sea. And I believe that all religions are beautiful, but they're just different perspectives of the same thing. So I started learning the other perspectives as well, Buddhism, Jainism, Islam, Hinduism, so that I could understand from all aspects of life rather than just taking one. Because too many of us have our own opinions and just stick to our own knowings and don't sometimes try and find out about other people's. And this world is a diverse, beautiful world with so many different cultures. We should find out, and it should be interesting for us so that we get a diverse and balanced opinion rather than just one extreme. So I did that, and I still very much believe in the Bible, very much believe in Christianity, but I also believe in Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, all of them, because they all have great aspects of love to them, connection to them, awareness to them, conscious communication to them, which is all part of emotional intelligence, which is all part of spirituality if we take it in a grounded fashion.
So what's the difference between spirituality and religion?
Well, I think,
in your opinion.
Well, spirituality and religion are pretty much the same thing, except that I think spirituality would, in my viewpoint, would be more broad-based idea of including everything in life, rather than just one perception of either the Bible or the Quran or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
All of those scriptures are beautifully written, and they're beautifully written as a great path to that sea, to that God, that Allah, that universal consciousness, whatever you believe in. I just believe in sometimes maybe skipping the path and going straight to the sea. And so I believe that we can pray from anywhere. I believe that the God that we call God
Mm-hmm.
is actually the energy that binds and connects everything in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
We are actually part of that. And it's almost like having a glass of water, obviously there's orange juice, but the sea being God or universal energy or Allah, or whatever, is you put the glass in there and it's still the seawater. And the seawater goes off as a human soul to experience life in physicality. So I
Mm-hmm.
believe that we're spiritual beings having a physical existence to enjoy the entirety of this thing, this game that we call life. And I believe the meaning really of life is to enjoy life, to appreciate with gratitude for the five senses of being able to see the sun, the sea, the stars, to be able to hear the whistle of the wind or someone telling you that they love you, to be able to touch and kiss and hug,
Yeah.
or to be able to taste things like chocolate
Yeah.
or smell the dew in the air or a rose in the morning. And when you have gratitude for these small things in life,
Yeah.
it opens yourself up to so much more. Now, I do believe the other meaning of life is that we come down here to learn, to grow, to evolve, to become better versions of ourselves in terms of souls and to play out karma. So when you look at your life, look at what you're gifted at doing, look at what you love doing, and
Mm-hmm.
look at what you can add value to people in some way or form, and follow a path that encapsulates all of those. And you'll
Yeah.
probably find you're following something you truly love doing, you're
Mm-hmm.
gifted doing, and you're helping others at the same time.
Yeah. Ah, actually, that's a great segue. It's like finding something that we love doing. So in professional terms, is like the choices that we're gonna make and what we want to make a living out of for a lifetime. What has been your experience, your trajectory? Has your career choices, have they been influenced by how your spiritual path has also evolved? Can you tell us about your journey more from the professional point of view?
Sure, yeah. So first thing is just to add value to people is
Yeah.
two ways that I think you can really, well, I said one already in terms of finding out what you love doing, what you're good at doing, what you can add value to people, find a match, and then go out there and do it. But I speak on stage all around the
Yeah.
world, and I've spoken on stage in front of 5,000 people. So if I was to give you a stage in front of 5,000 people and beam it out to the 8 billion people around the planet, and you were 90 years of age, what would
Yeah.
you speak about? What legacy would you want to leave? What would
Mhm.
you be most passionate about? What would light you up the most? And when you know what that is, then reverse engineer yourself back to where you are today and ask yourself, in order to be worthy enough to stand on that stage, deliver that speech, deliver that legacy, what do I need to do in terms of who I work with?
Yeah.
What job do I need to do? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to collaborate with to get the right steps to put yourself there and be worthy to deliver that?
Mm.
That's one way. Now, the other
Okay.
way, which has actually helped me to put me where I am now, because of the near death experience, because of the operations that went wrong, because of the chronic pain, because of marriage breakdowns and stuff like that, um, I basically have turned my mess into a message to give it meaning,
Oh,
to help other people in some way or form.
yeah.
So I help, as well as doing the business stuff. Obviously, I've been in the Times, the Independent for success in terms of business, which I'll talk about in a second. I actually have helped thousands of people, and I won 5 awards for it, for helping people in terms of mental wellness
Mhm.
and healing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I basically learned what I've learned of how I healed myself, both mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, to be able to encapsulate that into a program and learnings to be able to help other people in some way or form. And I've
Mm.
had, I think I told you before we got on the phone, I've had mothers calling me at 8 o'clock at night on a Friday, saying that their daughter was about to go into hospital because they're about to commit suicide, and they couldn't get them into the hospital. They couldn't get them into the mental health institute.
Yeah.
And would I help because of my experience and also because of my reputation of being able to help people? And within 15 minutes, I had turned the girl around. She was a 15-year-old girl. And I still have the text where she says, I
Mhm.
don't know how you did it, but you talked to my soul and I could feel what you were saying made sense. And so that would be something that I would recommend for people, is to have a look at what's happened in your life.
Yeah.
What are the people around you in your life? What does your mum do? What does your dad do? And decide what path you want to do. Don't do what your mum and dad do just because they did it. Align with your heart self. And I always say to people, before I go on stage, for example, I would put my hand on my heart and I would say, I am Doug Gordon, I am my heart. Please let me connect with the hearts of the audience in order to bless rather than impress
Mhm.
and add as much value. So get into your heart self. And when you know when you're in that heart self rather than your head self, your ego self, then ask yourself, what is the right path for me? And in terms of me, my path initially, I went into finance, but I
Yeah.
actually, what I really did, I went into sales because I
Mhm.
love people. I love interacting with people.
Yeah.
I love meeting new people, learning about people, helping people, interacting with people. So sales was a perfect opportunity for me to do that. And whatever form or whatever industry didn't really matter. It was great that I was in the financial industry because obviously it allowed me to learn about politics, economics,
Mhm.
markets, current affairs, what's going on. Because basically, let's face it, all the companies in the world, we all either work for them or buy from them.
Mhm.
So, in some way or form, they affect our entire lives. And the
Mhm.
global economic system is based around really about financials, about firms, about markets, about consumer products, everything. So, being in that world gave me a really good insight into how companies work, how people work, how mindsets work, how psychology works. And a lot of my job wasn't just selling, it was actually psychology, working with people, mindsets, understanding people, helping people to get what they need, or their clients what they need as well. So I loved what I did. And actually, I didn't realize, but during those times when I was doing, say, 15 or 20 meetings a week, one to one, I was half selling, half doing business, but I was actually doing a little bit of psychology type work and
Mhm.
mindset type work, helping these people in some way or form. So that's how I went into that, and I did reasonably well. I went from customer services to sales support to sales management to sales director to head of sales to board director. And during that time period, I grew an asset management business, and it was in the newspapers, from 50 million per annum sales to 1.75 billion per annum sales in 6 years. And it was, it was a record in terms of the industry. It helped me in terms of learning how to sell and how to manage people, how to manage clients, and how to negotiate big deals, how to communicate effectively, present effectively, and work in a collaborative team effectively as well. And
Mhm.
that's held me in good stead in terms of my executive coaching, where I've worked with Dell, as in Dell
Yeah.
Technologies, with Samsung, with Meta, which was Facebook at the time, with Okaco, with Leinster Rugby Club, with Census, with many other companies as well all around the world, helping them either on executive coaching, corporate training, presentation skills, communication skills, leadership skills. And now I have my own leadership and life mastery summit coming up, where I've got 8 amazing global speakers, some of them have paid 25, 30 grand a piece to speak every time they speak. On the 25th of January here in Dublin. It's also online as well. I know you're coming, Julie, and it'd be great
Yes.
to see you there. And if anybody's listened to this, please
Yeah.
come along because
Yeah.
you'll really enjoy it. There's some amazing people.
Mm. Yes, and you'll get the links for the event obviously in the email that you receive with the interview. So everything will be sent to you to you. And so when you were like working in like the hamster wheel, or like the stressful part of your career before your near-death experience, um, how were there signs that, because you said you enjoyed what you were doing, but were there signs that you were heading towards a health issue, or that it was too much? Because sometimes it feels like we can be either like under a lot of stress and actually not enjoying what we are doing, and then it leads to burnout. But sometimes it also feels like people enjoy what they're doing, and they enjoy it so much they get sucked in, and they also end up in burnout and issues. So can you tell us about that? How was it for you, and what would be your advice to not go to that stage?
Yeah, so I absolutely
Yeah,
loved going out and
yeah,
meeting my clients. I
yeah.
loved adding value to the clients. I
Uh-huh.
loved doing presenting to the clients. I loved negotiating deals for the clients. And I loved seeing the added value for those clients as well. Loved all that. And I would do it all day, every day, without a doubt.
Yeah.
What I didn't like was internally in some of the companies that I worked for, there was a lot of politics. There was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of egos. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of competition. And where there's competition, there's a sense of lack. Whereas if there's collaboration, there's a sense of new beginnings and being able to work together to create new things.
Yeah.
The problem is that still within a lot of organizations, there is a leadership capacity where it comes through as command and control. And really, it should be inspire and trust
Yeah.
because things have changed now and people can move around much more easily in terms of jobs, especially with COVID. I have my very good friends from university who will be living in London and working for a Silicon Valley company over in America. So it shows that you can now work anywhere. There's no limitations to where we can work after COVID. So based on that, we need to know as well, the millennials are looking for a sense of purpose, a
Yeah.
sense of why. Why are they doing what they're doing? What drives them to spring out of bed every single day? And I was driven to spring out of bed to add value to my clients. And I actually have a lot of my clients still are very good personal friends.
Yeah.
What I didn't like was the politics behind, the jealousy behind. And when I was doing a lot of business, there was people who were jealous within the business.
Yeah.
And that jealousy can end up causing competition and it doesn't benefit the company. It doesn't develop the individual because the vibration, the vibe attracts your tribe. And if you're vibrating and have a vibe of negativity in any way or form within an organization, it doesn't work. So I just put my head down and just worked to make sure that I looked after my clients in the best possible way, my team in the best possible way. I've got LinkedIn recommendations, and I'm still best friends with people who worked for me while I was at places like Threadneedle and Davy. And, you know, these people will be lifelong friends because you treat people as you want to be treated. You don't treat people as someone you can use for something. And there's too many people in organizations who come from a narcissistic point of view where they see people as someone who's working for them, not with them.
Yeah.
And really, we need to work with each other collaboratively and treat people as we want to be treated. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who, let's face it, might have had daddy issues where they weren't getting enough attention. So they go into work and then they try and get their attention and power through their work, their leadership, and their management. And yes, they might get to the top, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be happy and it doesn't necessarily going to be very liked. Having said that, I have had some amazing bosses
Yeah.
who were incredible, and they treated the janitor in the same way as they treated the deputy CEO, and they were the CEO. And those type of people are an absolute pleasure to work with. And they're always looking for win-win. They're very self-aware of their own state, but they've also got team awareness, people awareness, market awareness, organizational awareness,
Yeah.
and understanding in terms of situational awareness as well. And then they also have a very conscious way of communicating, creating that win-win. They have a lot of empathy. They have a lot of compassion so they can put themselves in other people's shoes because there's quite a lot of bosses out there that can't do that. They're totally wrapped up in their own bubble, their own self-importance, and they don't see outside of that. So it's really important to become self-aware and ask yourself, how can I create win-win in every interaction I have, including with the most important person, your own self? Because let's face it, you're the person who talks to yourself the most. Sometimes it can be the most intelligent conversation you have, but why not make it positive and kind? Because when you're positive and kind to yourself and you have that self-love for yourself, then you'll give that self-love out to other people as well.
So how did you, in situation when you were in work environment with people like that who could, let's use the word toxic as out of a better one, how did you navigate that to stay centered, and in your values, like you just described? Do you have tips for people who find themselves in such environments?
Yeah, look, where focus goes, energy flows. So what I would do is I focus on what I want.
Okay.
And so I would focus on adding value to clients,
Okay.
creating friendship with clients, creating friendship with the people, the good people within the office who wanted to collaborate, wanted to work as a team, and wanted to have some fun along the way.
Yeah.
So you focus on the ones who do. And look, if the person that was toxic was one of your bosses or something like that, then you just be respectful and try. The best thing you can actually do is to try and send them love every day.
Yeah.
Even when someone slaps you, you send them love back. When
Yeah.
someone says something nasty to you, you just send them love back. Most of the time, these people are treating you in this way, unless you're lazy. They're treating you in this way because they are either jealous or they're upset in their own self. And it's not necessarily about you at all. It's about where they are.
Yeah.
Most people are like hurt people hurt people. So most people are not happy in their own selves. A lot of people go to work and they try and get higher and higher up and get more and more power because they think it'll make them happier and happier and happier. And they think, I'll be happy when I get this. I'll be
Yeah.
happy when I get that. I'll be
Yeah.
happy. And they're never happy.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can be happy in the moment and gratitude for where you are now, regardless of what you have, then you'll find abundance will come to you. Maybe not just in money, but in terms of love, in contentment, in self love, in happiness. And you'll find that your life will change massively.
Mm.
So, all I say is when someone gives you crap, give them love back.
Yeah.
And you cannot, eventually, if you keep giving them love and you keep doing it, and as long as you are a conscious worker, a caring worker, and work for a sense of purpose. And that's the other thing is
Yeah.
when you're in a job, have a look at what you do of the energetics of how it interlinks
Yeah.
to the end customer. Even if you're a secretary, you might be arranging meetings for the managing director, who then goes and sells the product, and the product goes to the end customer. That end customer, if it's investments like I used to do, they might have a better investment portfolio. They can buy a better retirement home, give more to their children, their grandchildren, whatever it is. So when you can interlink what you do energetically to an end customer that
Mm.
benefits their life, it gives you a sense of more purpose as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
So always have that in mind.
I love that. So what I hear is first control what you can control, which is not the other person, but how you respond to the other person. So respond in a way that you would like to be treated instead of mirroring whatever toxicity someone might be sending your way. And I love this part, the purpose part. So focus on not just what you're what's just in front of your eyes, but look a little bit further into the chain of events that you're triggering, even with a small scale action in work. I love it. It's the first time that I hear, I hear that, or at least, put described that way. I think it's a great one. And
Yeah.
so I'm curious about when you had your near-death experience, at what stage of your professional life were you, and what changed before and after?
Yeah. So I was having little indications that
Yeah.
I wasn't happy in myself. And I don't necessarily think it was the job, it was me.
Okay. Oh,
And what I mean by that is I really, as I said, I really enjoyed the people aspect of the job.
yeah.
I really enjoyed the selling. I really enjoyed the presenting, the communication, the negotiations, and I was good at it, very good at it, still am. I just didn't enjoy the politics.
Mhm.
And I don't like getting involved in politics. I just like getting the job done. But unfortunately, in a lot of big multinationals, there's a lot of politics. And actually, the amount of time wasted and energy wasted on those
Yeah.
is phenomenal. And actually, organizations out there should be looking at that in terms of how serious it is. And this is what I help a lot of CEOs do, and CIOs as well, in terms of having a look at the time wasted on this politics, the thought time as well, not just inside work, but outside work. I mean, I remember at weekends, I'd be kind of buzzing around in my head, well, why did he say that? And why did she say that? And so on. And it just wastes time. It affects relationships, it affects you and your own physical being. So I knew from about 2008, well, just before, obviously, that I was getting digestive issues and stress, sore back, sore neck. And it was all manifested through
Mhm.
stress and through overthinking and everything like that. So I gradually, when I had the near death experience, then I realized just like I had to change my life.
Mhm.
And I got into the healing firstly, initially just to heal myself, and then found I had a gift and was able to heal other people as well. And during this time period, I gradually changed. I didn't move out of the investment world straight away. It took some time. It was I kept going until the end of 2017
Yeah. Oh,
before I
wow.
actually
Okay.
left. But during that time period, I was doing healing on the side and life coaching on the side and I started doing some speaking on the side as well. And then at the end of 2017, I was offered a national radio show called it was called Inspirational People, Inspirational Stories. And then I started, doing what I'm doing now.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And so during that time when you were also developing your healing, and were you using it like inside of the job with people, like with people that were working with you, or were you keeping it very separate on two tracks? How did you navigate that transition?
well, I had to be careful because a lot of people think it's a bit woo woo and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll explain to the people that are listening very easily how it works. So imagine, so I can actually do physical healings in terms of injuries. And I've had people who were not supposed to be able to run before now run again, were able to do marathons. I've had people who had serious burns and the burn got better within 2 days and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, and what I say is that your body is made up of cells, and those cells are not interconnected through glue, they're interconnected through energy.
Yeah.
And that energy binds all your cells together. And everything energetically has a vibration, it moves slightly. So when you get two cells together, they're moving at a vibration, a frequency all the time, and everything does.
Yeah.
So when there is a bang in that area, what happens is the frequency goes out of sync. So it's suddenly going out of sync. It's out of its normal vibration.
Okay.
And that then sends a signal to your brain that there's pain there because it's out of the normal vibrationary sync. That's how it works. So what I can do and what other healers can do is we can hone in. There's energy all around us. Let's face it, I'm speaking into the computer. It's going up to the satellite. It's going into your computer. So there's energy from my voice, vibration going all the way around to get to you. And likewise, you to me. So there's energy all around us. So what I'm doing is I'm just honing into the energy around us, bringing it into myself, aligning it through the frequency of my heart through a sense of love and healing, and then channeling it through intention to the area that needs healing. And then what happens is then through that intention, because it's amazing how powerful this is, and this is that then resyncs the vibration back into the correct frequency, the correct vibration. And then that way, then you can heal. So that's that. But going back to your question, when I explain that in a kind of scientific way like that to people, they're less kind of concerned about the woo-woo, that they're thinking I'm praying to some magic man who's going to come down and heal you. So that's the way I tend to express it in terms of energy. But yes, to begin with, I very much kept it separately. In fact, when I started to do my healing, I had a website called Body, Health and Soul. I had my Doug D. Gordon, which was for my speaking and my book, which is obviously behind me, Charge Yourself Up for Success. And then I would have the DNS Performance Optimization Limited, which is my company, as another one. Now, because I ordered the corporate one, the speaking one, and the author one, and then the healing one, all separate. Now I'm bringing them all together into Doug D. Gordon because, quite serious, simply, people are much more open to the idea of having a healer. They'll have an executive coach, they'll have a psychologist, they'll have a healer, they'll have a PT. It's amazing how a lot of these rich people have 4 or 5 different, say, coaches helping them in some way or form. And quite often it's a Reiki master teacher to get their energy aligned. So was I using it in the office? Yes. I would quite often clear off people's negative energy all the time without them knowing, and also with them knowing, because they'd come up and ask me. And I do have a skill set of what happens is quite often, because some of us shine beautiful, shiny light like you, you can walk into a shopping center and negative energy, lower frequency energy sees you almost like this glorious light and wants to latch on. And sometimes, that just needs to be spring cleaned off. So, for example, I have a European attorney who comes to me every single month for what she calls her spring clean. And I'll give her a healing and just clear out her energy and align her frequency up to the highest frequency so that she feels great afterwards. And she loves it. And she had COVID as well, long COVID, and I cured it. So she did a video online on YouTube. You can see it if you go into my channel, and she talks about it. So yeah, look, it works. It is a bit woo-woo, but at the end of the day, let's face it, if you optimize your energy, you're going to optimize your performance in your work and your job and your life. So that's what I help people do as well.
Yeah, I like that. And you said it's a bit woo-woo. It is and it's not, because as soon as we start looking into the physics of things and understanding energy and stuff, not so woo-woo. it's yeah, it's how the how what we are made of, how the universe works, everything works, and it's leveraging that understanding that we are not separate. We are glued together by this ether, this substance, this energy. So yeah, you've dwelled into it to a level that you're leveraging it both separately, like to do healing when people require healing, but my sense is like you're also leveraging it in your everyday life, because that's wherever you go, that's and there is a need. I mean, your own energy is bringing some change around wherever you are, just by simply being, right?
Yeah, I think we all hold a certain energy and
Yeah,
also the vibration of our voice. When I speak on stage, when I first started speaking on stage, people
yeah,
used to leave me LinkedIn recommendations saying, "Oh, the energy, the energy, the
yeah.
energy is amazing," you know. And I'd be like, "What about the content? I've done so
Oh,
much
yeah.
work on the content, and it's really good content." But
Yeah,
they'd feel that energy coming towards them because I'd be genuinely on there
yeah,
trying to express a sense of love. And I always say love is an acronym for lots of vibrant energy. So I'd be trying to express that love out to them all
yeah,
the time,
yeah.
and they could feel it. And you mentioned something very important, Julie, is that we are all interconnected. And
Yeah.
someone might think that's a bit woo, but if you think about it, I'm sure the person who's listening now will
Mhm.
know a time where they thought about somebody and
Yeah.
either bumped into them or had a telephone call or something like a Facebook message
Mhm.
within no time whatsoever. And this happens all the time. So we are all psychically integrated and intertwined. And that's why it's so important is remember that if
Mhm.
you're thinking negatively about someone, you might not be saying it, but I'm sure they'll be able to feel it. So
Mhm.
really try and change your perception of people and have compassion for where they are and hold space. And I always say that separateness can bring togetherness. Because what happens is, especially in a lot of love relationships where they're quite passionate, is that two people who are really actually loving, caring people get enmeshed in each other's energies. And what happens is sometimes this person goes into work, has a bad day, comes home, and is vibrating and ranting in a negative way. And then this other person gets wrapped up in that. And the
Yeah.
problem is then gets wrapped up in that energy, and then boom, there's an argument. So,
Mm.
what's so important in relationships is to make sure that you keep that separateness and hold that space for when that person is blowing up and throwing their toys out of the pram, whatever, is
Yeah.
that you just remember that they're probably doing this because they know that they can trust you. They know that you can hold space for them and do hold space for them. And eventually, when they come back into balance, then you can go back into that state of enmeshment and state of love. But when they go out of balance, hold the space, don't get wrapped up in the energy, show compassion and empathy, and watch them eventually come back in because your vibration will hold that energy of peace and harmony for them. So that's something that I think is really important. And also I just think that I believe that if we're spiritual beings having a physical existence, why would we just come down as you or I? Why would we not come down as the king, the queen, the prince, the pauper, the invalid, the Olympian, to
Yeah.
experience life in different ways, different angles, and different perspectives, so that we can enjoy the entirety of this life?
Mhm.
So treat people as you want to be treated, because you might come back down at the other end of that relationship energy strand the
Yeah.
next time round. And
Yeah.
actually, I often say to people who are bullies or are violent or
Yeah.
anything like that, you might come back down at the other end of that the next time. So treat them as you want, because karma can be something that you don't want to have.
Mm. And actually, speaking of karma, through your near-death experience, did you gather some insights or understanding about how this works, this karmic
Yeah, yeah,
karmic
100%.
relationship? Yeah.
You can, I believe that you can actually solve your karma in this lifetime, or it'll be the next lifetime.
Okay. So can
And
we define karma then first, maybe?
karma is what you give out, you get back, in my
Okay.
point.
Mhm.
So the universe works in negative and positive, north and south, east and
Yeah.
west, female and male,
Mhm.
good times and bad times,
Yeah.
darkness and light. And sometimes people go through really dark times, but then come out into the light. So I always say to people, if you're going through a tough time, a dark time, maybe credit yourself knowing that you're going to get some light at the other end of the tunnel as well. But
Mhm.
also you can reframe the dark times into learnings and understandings so that you can become brighter and lighter at the other end of the tunnel, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but I think, in terms of karma, I think it's important to realize that because of that universe working in positive and negative, if you give something out, I believe that you'll get it back. And you might not get it back from the same person.
Mhm.
You might get it back in a certain other way as well.
Mhm.
So the universe is always watching.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are really, really, thinking consciously, acting consciously, and speaking consciously, and coming from a place of love. Because the more love you give out, the more you're going to get back as well.
Yeah.
And I find that the greatest gift you can give to yourself is giving to others, because the contentment and joy of seeing someone's life change, which I've had so many times helping people with suicide, depression, anxiety, stress, and stuff like that, is just beautiful.
Mm.
I've won deals for 550 million in one go, in which
Oh,
you get a percent per annum on that, just to give you an idea of the kind of fees. And it's nothing compared to the joy of changing and saving somebody's life.
yeah.
And we can all change a life. And if you change one life, the ripple effect of that will change another, 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 another. You don't have to go round and stand on a stage like me and try and change 5,000 people at a time, because you can just change one person close to you, and then they act in a nice way, the way that you treated them. And then they do that to the next person does it to the next person, and so on. So
Yeah.
just remember, you only need to change one life to change the world.
Wow. I love that.
Mm.
So yeah, in the most simplest form, that we're all impactful. It
Mm-hmm.
starts with one person. Yeah.
And
Because it's so
and
easy to compare ourselves, It's like, oh, I'm so small compared to, oh, Doug is like is so successful, and I can't, I'm doing nothing until I'm able to speak to that many people, and that's not true.
No, I mean, like, this is why, even being a parent, which I am,
Mm.
um, it's a responsibility to be able to try and make that child, and that's probably the hardest one, especially with teenagers, is to try and make that child the best loved person that you can possibly give.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. And, I would say sometimes your closest and your nearest and dearest are the most testing people, but
Mhm.
they were brought into your lives for a reason. They were brought into your life to test you. And I truly believe that sometimes we come down to this planet to learn, to grow, to evolve, to become better versions of ourselves. And it can be almost like a PlayStation game. So when you're going through a really tough time, if you're going to that higher level in the PlayStation game, maybe instead of being the victim, maybe pat yourself on the back, because maybe you played this game of life so often that you're testing yourself to the ultimate, to see if you can still get through all this crap and come out the other side still as a nice, emotionally intelligent version of yourself.
Okay. So you
Uh,
mean like when we are having challenges, or tough experiences, that we to see it as we actually brought that on into our experience, because we are advanced enough to be able to deal with it, so that we've actually grown spiritually, so uh,
mm-hmm.
to a point that in this physical experience we are able to handle what seems to be imposed on us, when so we are creating it for ourselves, we're choosing the experience, right?
I truly believe that. I truly believe that we choose our life to
Mm-hmm.
learn something in this lifetime, or to test ourselves. Because let's face it, if you're a spiritual being having a physical existence and you've come down here again and again and again, maybe thousands and millions of times,
Yeah.
why would you just make it the same? Why would you not go, okay, I've been the king, the queen, and I've been the millionaire and the film star or
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, I want to experience, maybe, how can I get through some certain difficult aspects of life
Yeah.
and come through and make it win-win for me
Mm-hmm.
and for the other person as well.
Okay.
And I always say to people as well that, because a lot of people think, then they say, oh, well, because they might be considering suicide. I said, and they say, well, maybe I'll end this life and go to the next one. I said, well, I believe it'll be like Groundhog Day. You'll have to do the whole thing again,
Yeah.
exactly the same next time. And it might be even harder. So why not get it out of the way this time, so that you've done that level of the PlayStation game? So you've experienced, gone through that.
Yeah.
Because I believe, potentially you get through at the end of your life and you go, oh, I didn't get that right.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go back down and do that again, aren't I? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm off. I'll see you guys later. I'm back down into another body. So I don't know if that's true, but this is my truth.
Okay.
And why not? Why wouldn't you? If this is a game of life,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you? So, and the game for me, the way to win in this game of life is to be a kind, loving, wonderful person.
Yeah.
Because we all know that when you're a shitty person, you don't feel good. When you're a good person, a kind person, a loving person, you feel amazing.
Yeah.
And does God or the universe want you to feel amazing or shitty? Amazing, of course. This
Yeah.
is an experience of physicality. I don't believe on heaven and hell. I believe that on earth you can have heaven and hell.
Yeah.
If you're in a loving, kind, wonderful state and you have great relationships with people, you're kind to people, they're kind to you, that's heaven. If you're a so and so and you're miserable, jealous, guilty, whatever, that's hell.
Yeah.
So, and I have to say, I've been in both, and you want to make sure that you're in the best, kindest, nicest state to
Yeah.
help other people and try and raise a bit of consciousness along the way. And you can do that by learning from the things. And when things happen to you, instead of getting wrapped up in the emotion and commotion, take yourself out of the situation. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
Put yourself on the 10th floor as if you're looking back down into the situation as the observer and ask yourself, okay, hold on a minute. What am I learning here? How
Yeah.
can I grow from this situation? And what can I even maybe utilize in this situation to help other people in some way or form?
Yeah. And so, because we're getting, I know I'm conscious of the time that we're getting towards the end of our conversation, but I see, and I would have so many other questions about, free will and karma and all of this, but I also see like the title of your book behind you. So I want to make sure that you're telling us a little bit about it before before the end of our.
Yeah. So my book, Charge Yourself Up for Success, and it's energizing your life, work, and
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest with you, the real title is Energizing Your Life, Work, and Relationships.
Okay.
Because everything in life is energy. Thoughts are energy. Speech is energy. Thoughts lead
Yeah.
to speech. Speech leads to actions. Actions lead to habits, and habits leads to destiny. So get yourself into the highest positive, energetic state. You're going to turn up in the best possible way for your relationships, for your work, and for your life. So that's what it's all about. So the book goes into how to find purpose, which we talked about. I go into a bit more detail of that. How to get rid of those triggers, traumas, parental programs, character traits that don't serve you. I have a whole system in there that helps you to do that. How to energize yourself into the best possible state in the morning with a morning routine that I put in there. How to be able to develop stronger, more positive and more loving relationships, both in work, with clients and with loved ones. How to get yourself into a more emotionally intelligent state in terms of how to get more self-aware, how to consciously communicate better, because your word is your wand, and the sentences you say can be the sentences you condemn yourself and others to. So speak for what you want rather than what you don't want. How to get inspired every single day, so you spring out of bed with energy, and how to be able to create what I call a gleaming persona. And my GLEAM acronym is gratitude and giving, letting go and learning, emotional intelligence and energy, authenticity and affirmations, and meditation and meaning, as in purpose. So gleam your inner light out to other people. And there's a lot more in there about business and giving examples of success stories and healing stories and life coaching stories and saving people's lives stories, my near-death experiences in there, and lots more.
Okay, that sounds great. And as well, we'll make sure to have all the links in for our audience to be able to check it out. A little selfish question: is it also available on in Audible form?
Well, I am doing an Audible, but on purpose, my publisher asked me not to do one for a year, to
Oh,
sell
okay.
some hard copies first, and
Okay.
then to launch the Audible version. So it was launched on the 22nd of February last year, and I will be looking to do an Audible this year. So yeah,
Hey,
and just
congratulations.
so you know, the book is actually testimony by
Okay.
Stephen Covey, Lisa Nichols, John
Mhm.
DeMartini, who are all New York Times bestsellers. Also, Tazy Valencia, who was in Star Wars, Eamon Quinn, who's used to be the owner of Super Quinn, which became Super Value over here,
Yeah.
and much more. So
Yeah.
yes, we've got some great testimonies in there. They've read the book, they love the book, they testimony the book, and it's in shops all around the world and on Amazon as
On
well.
Amazon. Yeah. Yeah. Easy to find. Yeah, no problem. Yes,
Yeah.
and I have the link, a clickable link for everyone as well. And so I just want also to make sure we're making people aware again of the event that's coming up next week, which is like in person in Dublin, but there's also online tickets, right?
Yeah, so the Leadership and Life Mastery Summit
Okay.
is on the 25th of January at the Royal Marine Hotel in Dunleary in Dublin.
Yeah.
It starts about 8 o'clock. It goes on till 6. There's
Mhm.
great opportunities for networking. We've
Yeah.
got Jack Daly, who is the #1 sales and leadership speaker in America. He spoke at the Pendulum Summit. He is the Vistage, the entrepreneur organization, the UK, and the Australian Overseas Speaker of the Year. He is a 10 times international best-selling author. He's a Forbes business guru. We've also got Karen Kaplan, who sold her business for 800 million. Amazing woman. We've got Dave McGowan, who owns 8 magazines, including Together Magazine, which sold 1.3 million copies last year, printed copies. We've got Pat Falvey, who did the North Pole, the South Pole, Everest twice, in fact, the 7 summits of the world twice. We've got myself. We've got amazing other speakers as well, all speaking, adding value to you and anybody who comes along. So we'd love to have you there. It'll be a great fun event. It's not going to be just sit there boring lectures. We're going to be getting up, having a bit of fun, maybe a bit of dancing, whatever. I don't know. It's going to be much. Think Tony Robbins, think interaction, think fun, think workshop style, actionable steps, lots of communication, lots of collaboration, lots of networking, and hopefully we're walking away with a big smile at the end of the day.
Awesome, awesome. And if some people are motivated, we can go sea swimming before.
Yeah, right next to the sea. Beautiful
Right
sea.
next to the sea. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. So before I let you go, my very last question, which is not really a question, but is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would love to address, or any last words that you want our audience to hear?
Yeah, look, my mission in life is to help people connect to their heart self to find their true mission in life and true passion and purpose in
Mhm.
life. I'm very good at doing it. Have a look at my LinkedIn. I've got something like 90 different LinkedIn recommendations. Have a look at my Doug Gordon Google. I've got 20 5-star recommendations on there.
Yeah.
The success that I've had both in business coaching, communications coaching, leadership coaching, healing, mental wellness work, life coaching, finding people's passion. And I don't know anybody else that has as many testimonies of success as I have. And I say that not out of ego. I say that because I want to help you, the listener, and get in touch, and it would be a pleasure to help you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Doug. I really appreciate you sparing some time to share your experiences with us. And I say see you soon to hopefully a lot of us for the event next week, which I'll be at, obviously. And thank you so much. And I shall talk to you for probably another conversation down the line. And in the meantime, have a great rest of your day. And to all of the people who are listening to us, I'll see you next week for another career and spirituality conversation. Bye, everyone. Love you.
Bye.